Marcus, you have just released your 22 figures this morning. I think let's go through some of the highlights and maybe a look into 23 and what your expectations are there.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for the audience listening in today. I have a short presentation on the figures, both on the performance for 2022, but also one slide on forward-looking into 2023, and also events that has happened after the close of Q4 last year. So jumping into it, the highlight for Q4 last year was a fourth quarter order intake of 1.2 million Swedish, leading to an overall yearly intake of 18.1 million Swedish krona. The Q4 order intake was lower than expected by primarily because of the delay in decision from two large mobile orders. I'll come back to those in events happening after the closure of Q4. We saw also that the gross profit, as announced, is growing, and we closed the year with a 17.1% in gross profit, and that is towards the 20% that we have promised that we will deliver on our ship solutions. And as the year was primarily affected by ship solutions sales, we believe and we can see that we are headed toward the 20% and we will reach that goal. Our commercial activities from the quoting point of view was growing also in Q4 and has been growing all year in 2022, and we closed the quarter quoting more than 75 million Swedish krona in new quotes, and the increase is actually reflected across all our three business activity legs. I'll just come back to those in a second. From an operational point of view, all the ship systems that we put into commissions was done in a smooth and very predictable manner. And please recall, as of 1st of June last year, also a biological independent test has to be done in order for the ships to be compliant, and all systems installed with Bawat have always passed this biological test. So that is once again a proof of the technology and the quality of the technology that we are delivering. Please recall, as the last point here on this slide, that we are active in three segments: retrofit and new build for ships. There's a big retrofit push right now, but there will be an ongoing new build market going forward year on year. But then also we are very active in mobile installations, and also we are selling ballast water as a service. And the last two business leg, we are almost standalone in the world, and we are growing in those businesses. If we are looking forward and what have we seen after the closing events, we can see that one of the two mobile systems that was delayed in decision, we have confirmed the order for one of them here in February. And the interesting part of that, besides the volume and the nice thing about confirming the order, is also that this is for our service partner in the US, Freedom Ballast, where they, on the backside of this order, have already achieved and confirmed a service order for a longer period starting this summer in the US. And this is, of course, very nice for us, as it confirms the two business legs, one on the mobile systems, but also the second one, ballast as a service, because please recall, Bawat is an equity owner into Freedom Ballast, so we will receive part of the cash flow that this service order is generating. Secondly, we are also now confirming what we released in January, which is our forward-looking statement and guidance for the year. We are still saying 40 to 60 million in order intake for the year, but we are also now, as we did in January, saying that we expect to be EBITDA break even in the second half of 2024. This is, of course, depending on the projected revenue and the cost, but especially also the margin structure, because the difference between our mobile systems and our ships systems are 20% for ships, as earlier reported, and 40% for our mobile systems. So we have long-term reported approximately 30% gross profit, and that with our projections on volume will bring us into EBITDA break-even in the second half of next year. So overall, we are positively looking into 2023. We have also closed orders on ship solutions, so we expect also a more evenly distribution of order intake across the year. But again, that is very difficult to predict. That we saw already in Q4. So, but we are, based on what we are seeing already now, saying that we are predicting a more even order intake over the year. But again, difficult to predict. So, over to you, Michael.
Yeah, just regarding that, you don't guide on revenue, and I know that can be very lumpy, so I know that's hard. But is it still the time when you have an order to deploy that order, is that still the 6 months you mentioned earlier, or is there anything in supply chain that should change that view?
No, that is still the case. We have an average of 6 months from order intake to full revenue recognition. So what we see in the first half is converted in the second half, and for our budget point of view, we are budgeting that half of what we are seeing in the second half is also converted in the second half. So that is what we have seen when we did the backlog close in 21, and what we have seen that we have been able to convert in 2022. So the sales recognition for 2022 is actually reflecting that very much.
Perfect. And can you talk a little bit about challenges, maybe the 2-3 challenges you're seeing in your market right now? Your order quote is going up, and I can see you would have reached guidance if you had reached the 2 mobile orders, which looks like becoming now, but it looks like there's a little bit drag. So is that your challenge, the drag in market, or are you seeing some other challenges in the market right now?
No, I think our challenge is the conversion of the very nice quoting activity that we see into orders that we can then book. And this is all a matter about how mature we are as a company, how much our agent network is active into the market, and how much we are still active from our sales point of view into the market. But a growing quoting pipeline should, as we are today, also reflect in a growing order intake. And I would say that is primarily our biggest, let's say, work that has to be done in 2023, and that is that conversion. We see that we have a very nice product. It's easy to install. It's easy to prove for the customer. It goes through all tests, and we now have a very nice reference list. And also our name is now getting more and more known in the market. So our challenge, our work for 2023 is that conversion. But what we are nice to see is that we are building on a growing quote pipeline. So there is much more commercial attractiveness for us to work with. And the quote is actually both on the ship solutions, both for retrofit and new build, also for mobile systems. And then we are actually also seeing much increasing activity also on the service part, where we are very active in the US, and we are also now starting to see quite some activity in Western Europe and in Asia, Singapore specifically.
So saying very, very shortly, it's not the market that is posing any threats, it's not the market opportunities, it's your execution, if I should understand you just by one word.
Absolutely. There is plenty of market for us. It's us that needs to run out and make ourselves known. And with a nice quoting pipeline and a good reference list now, we believe that 2023 it will be much easier than 2022.
And then looking a little bit about your situation on the capital side, you mentioned that you are now expecting to be cash flow or operation profitable in second half of 2024. But I guess the bridge to there, how is that going to be closed capital-wise?
We will report on that in our Q1 reporting, or potentially earlier.
And then as an ending question, I think you started mentioning it, but when you talk to your customers, what are that they are buying into in your technology? If you should mention 2 or 3 things, what is it that sets you apart? What is it that they are buying into when they decide to book with you?
What we're seeing with customers, what they really like is the simplicity about our system, and it's rocket, it's proof, it's marine components. They like that. There is no mechanical filtration, and then the fact that they get a green system, no chemicals, and they can run it on excess heat from the main engine or from generation set normally. That gives the customer now, with very good references in the back, a really good opportunity to make their systems more green, but at the same time more rocket, and reduce their energy consumption.
Thank you.